Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whatever your current life situation is. Hello, you too. This is Jeffrey Kite back again with another episode of Kite's Curiosities. Coming at you again with another TTM through the mail autograph video. And today, I'm going to feature 3 autographs that I've gotten back recently from 3 well-known and famous, in my opinion, just outstanding Desert Storm heroes. So you might be thinking, well, what's a Desert Storm hero? Well, in 1991, when I was in the 7th grade, this was my first experience of, war and politics and all that kind of thing that I remembered, and it was Saddam Hussein had invaded Kuwait, and the Middle East didn't like that. They felt that was a threat, as did the United States. A coalition was formed with a lot of the Arab and Middle Eastern nations, along with other parts of Europe and the United States, and the Gulf War began. It was a big buildup called Desert Shield. Then the actual operation of the war was called Desert Storm, where the forces stormed the desert in many shapes, forms, and fashions through different operations. And there were so many brave young men and women who served our country during that pretty scary time, because we just kind of didn't know. We felt good about our chances of winning that war, but you never can tell. And if you let, it's a good history lesson in that if you let leaders lead, if you let your leaders lead, good things will happen. And people got to listen to their leaders. So not everything went right, but most of it did. But we're going to take a look at this three men who served during that time period. Got one coming from parts unknown, but I already know this is from the Spokane, Washington area because I know who it's from. Got one coming out of San Jose, California. Another one coming out of Richmond, Virginia. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. Let's take a look at this one from Spokane, Washington. This one, oh, there it is on the back. Look at that. Spokane, Washington. This comes from a man known as Dale Storeman Store. Let me tell you about Dale Store. Dale Store was an A-10 Warthog pilot. And the A-10, I believe, that's part of the United States Army, Marines, Air Force, I can't remember, but he was a pilot for A-10 Warthog. That's the plane that he flew. Not the plane, but what one of those A-10 Warthog planes looked like. But anyway, Dale Store was flying a mission on February 2nd, 1991, and he was shot down. They thought he was dead. They thought the other pilots who were flying around with him on that mission thought he had died and reported his death. They had a little memorial service for him, but come to find out he was alive. They found out later that he did survive being shot down. And he was captured by Iraqi forces and was held in captivity and was a prisoner of war for 33 days. For 33 days, they pistol whipped him, they starved him, they threatened him, psychological torture. You can look his story up and read about him, all the horrible things that he endured for us to defend our country and to keep us safe and protected and to have that peace of mind. He was a prisoner of war along with another famous person, Bob Simon. Don't know if y'all remember the CBS reporter Bob Simon. I think he was on 60 Minutes for a couple of years. Bob Simon was a reporter for CBS during the Gulf War, and he and his camera crew were captured and were held prisoners of war. And Dale Storer was a prison mate with Bob Simon. But they both survived and lived to tell their stories. So very thankful to get this autograph. I tracked him down through a series of newspaper articles and found him owning a bar and tavern in Spokane, Washington. And I reached out to the bar. I called the bar and spoke to a bartender one day. And I said, look, this is very strange. It's weird, but I collect autographs, and, Dale seems to be like just a great American hero to me, and I would like to request his autograph on an A10 Warthog trading card. And she said, yeah, send it to the bar. I'll make sure he gets it. So I sent it to her, and she undoubtedly got it to him, and I got that back along with this letter right here. And it's dated July 29th, 2025. It says, Dear Jeffrey, thank you so much for your kind and thoughtful letter. I'm sorry it has taken so long for me to get back to you. My bartender, Jill, that's the young lady I spoke to, is a wonderful person, and I'm glad she was able to help you out. I hope you are enjoying your summer in Dallas. We are having a great summer up here in Spokane. Thank you for reaching out. Your letter was much appreciated. Check 6, Dale Storer. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for responding to me. I never know if I'm going to get some of these requests back or not, because, I think sometimes people believe that, some of the who aren't athletes, who are people in history, they think it's a joke, and it's not a joke. I sincerely appreciate everything they have done for our country. So thank you so much, Mr. Dale Storer. A store man. That was his nickname on his call sign when he was flying. So thank you so much. All right, check this one out of San Jose, California. This is from none other than, he did not sign the front of that one, or of that one, but he did sign the backs of them. Look at that beautiful autograph right there. This comes from none other than Rear Admiral from the United States Navy, retired, who was the commanding officer of the USS Wisconsin, Mr. David S. Bill III. So he signed this one. He signed this one right here. Both of these cards are the same. This is the front of it. Whoops. That's the front of it. And then he signed the back of this card right here. David Bill, Commanding Officer, BB-64. That's the whole number for the USS Wisconsin. So when you see the USS Wisconsin or see different battleships and carriers sailing, you'll see a number painted on the side right here. And that's the whole number, and that's how you can identify which ship is which when they're out there in the ocean and stuff. So, but let me tell you about old David S. Bill here. David Bill, long military career. He was initially in charge of some riverboat patrols during the Vietnam War in the Mekong Delta area, and he went out on 150 of those missions, and he was wounded in battle, and he earned a Bronze Star. After Vietnam, he, worked his way through the ranks of the United States Navy, and he wound up being in command of the USS Mahan. I think that's how you call it, M-A-H-A-N. Could be Mahan, but I think it's Mahan. So he was in charge, or in command of the USS Mahan during Operation El Dorado Canyon, which was airstrikes done by the United States on Libya in response and retaliation to an incident in West Berlin where some Libyans, or what was believed to be some people who supported Libya, bombed a discotheque where a lot of American servicemen like to go and hang out and enjoy themselves when they weren't on duty. Reagan was not pleased with that, found out, through intelligence that we believed it was Libya was responsible for that bombing. So David S. Bill and the men of the USS Mahan, they went out there in support of those airstrikes that were done on Libya in 1986. After that, he, went through some more, changes and promotions and different things, and wound up on the USS Wisconsin. He was the commanding officer of the USS Wisconsin during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm during the Persian Gulf War. And the USS Wisconsin, they were in charge of, let me turn it around this way so you can see, The USS Wisconsin, they were the ones in charge of a lot of those Tomahawk cruise missile launches that, started the Gulf War. When it first started, the plan was to hit Iraq with as much force through the air, through various bombing campaigns. And so they would fly planes and do bombing missions, and they would fire cruise missiles from various battleships. Well, the USS Wisconsin was one of them. And that was very, very important. Very important. That had to be done swiftly, correctly, and completely in order to effectively support the ground troops who came in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks later, and gain that decisive victory. But David S. Bill, he has another feather in his cap for just outstanding work in the military. It was February the 23rd, 1991, and the USS Wisconsin, they launched a drone. And this drone was called the Pioneer. And the Pioneer, it just basically just soared and hovered over, and it was a reconnaissance device. It was unarmed, had no weapons package like you see in today's battle with Ukraine and Russia. It was just a defenseless drone. It was just to get reconnaissance footage. They flew that drone over an area that they were getting ready to attack and see what was going on there. The Iraqi forces surrendered to the drone. They had the camera on them, and the Iraqi forces saw that drone and immediately surrendered. And it was the first time in history that a group of soldiers surrendered to an unarmed drone. I mean, how about that? That was amazing. So great story, just wonderful work. Thank you so much, David S. Bill. And he too wrote me back a nice little letter on his personal stationery. It says, "Dear Jeffrey, thank you for your nice note. It was indeed an honor to serve our country and have an opportunity to command the greatest warship ever constructed, the Iowa-class battleship USS Wisconsin B-64. And I think it says, yours always, David Bill, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired. Thank you so much, Admiral Bill. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you taking time to write that letter and to sign these cards for me right here. I'm gonna put one of those cards in our 500 subscriber giveaway. I gotta do a video on that, get the prizes up, let y'all see what you can win. We are almost to 500 subscribers. I'm at 480. We're 20 away, but enough about that later. And last, this video is so long. I'm so sorry. I'm so long-winded, but these guys have such incredible stories that need to be shared, need to be documented and gotten out onto the internet airways and to keep their memory alive. This is coming from Richmond, Virginia, and it is from none other than Mr. Vice Admiral J.J. Mazik. He signed this beautiful USS America card. He even wrote a little note on the back. Jeffrey, thanks for your interest and kind words. J.M., his initials J.M. But J.J. Mazik, he too wrote a personal little note that we'll get to. But let me tell you about old Vice Admiral J.J. Mazik. J.J. Mazik, when he first got his start in the Navy, he was an A-7 Corsair II pilot during the Vietnam War. Now, the Corsair II is like this big, it's kind of like the A-10. It's not a jet, it's not a fast plane, but it can hump it, but it's not designed for a lot of air combat. The Corsair and the A-10 are designed to support ground troops, to give air support to ground troops. And so that's what his role in the Vietnam War was. Hold on one second. The light's going out in the classroom. All right, back again. These motion censored lights didn't pick up my movement too much. But anyway, that's what J.J. Mazik did during the Vietnam War. He flew those missions in support of the ground troops during the Vietnam War, and he worked his way up through the United States Navy and eventually was in command of this ship right here, the USS America, which was an aircraft carrier that that housed a flight group. I think it was CV1, I think, something like that. I can't remember. But they housed a flight group, and they would fly missions. They would take off from the USS America to do their combat missions or air support missions or ground support missions or whatever mission it was. So the USS America, at first it was just they mobilized and got a buildup of aircraft carriers, destroyers, battleships, things like that. And initially, J.J. Mazik was in charge of USS America's air support missions, meaning they would fly jets alongside the bombers. They were wingman to protect the bombers and to maybe run interference and things like that, or some other type of air support mission. But on day 2 of the Gulf War, that is when the USS America officially started launching their airstrikes. And they went to this area north of Baghdad, and they blew up, I think it was like a little command center there. And from there, they began to strike oil production facilities, blowing up bridges, destroying ammunition factories and strongholds. And so they would go out, fly missions, come back, go out, fly missions, come back, check planes out, fix what they need to fix, and just keep them around the clock. Just keep planes in the air and keep the enemy at bay. And J.J. Mazik, he was in charge of those operations. So thank you so much. So very much, Vice Admiral Mazik. Again, very important that those operations had to be done correctly, swiftly, or else it could have been a very different outcome in the Gulf War. So let's take a look at his note here. It says, Jeffrey, use this another time. No cost for you to get me to sign the CV-66 card. And again, CV-66, that is the hull number of the USS America. So very happy to have that, Mr. J.J. Mazik. Thank you so much. So he sent my envelope back to me. Y'all might have seen my address, but whatever. We'll put that on there. But sent my envelope back to me unused. He provided his own envelope and his own postage. Thank you so much. That was just, that means a lot. Well, tell me what you think. I know it's a long video, I know, just for 3 autographs. But again, just, it's the history behind the men who signed these cards that just, it just really resonates with me. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think down in the comments. What do y'all think about these Desert Storm autographs that I've been getting back? There's more on the way. I'm about to write a whole bunch more to them. So y'all tell me if y'all enjoying it or not. As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe. Do whatever you want to do. Till next time, y'all take care now. Have a good one. Bye.